Hey, welcome. I'm Larry, and this is my library. If you're new here, every week I talk about a comic book that I've read. I review it. These are generally collected editions, omnibuses, and the like, but sometimes it's other stuff. Anyway, if you like this stuff, please subscribe, bell notify yourself, all that jazz. I'm going to get right into it. This week, I'm taking a look at Daredevil by Frank Miller, the Omnibus Companion. They could have just as easily called this Daredevil by Frank Miller Omnibus Volume 2. Not sure why they didn't. Crazy. But anyway, it's a smaller volume than the first one. And if you haven't seen my review of that one, check it out. I will put a link down below in the doobly-doo. But yeah, this thing is awesome. It had a $100 cover price. It is out of print, but I think there's a new printing coming, maybe. Not sure about that. I wouldn't doubt it. This should be an evergreen. Marvel should keep this going in print because it's fantastic, and I think it's probably always going to sell well. You know, this one has 608 pages. Really nice, robust binding and build. No issues there. Easy to read. Fairly easy to scan. I mean, if you've seen my scans before, you know, I hang them over the side of the plat. It's about the only thing you can do unless you want to break the book. So you will see some of the art clipped as it approaches the middle of the book in the scans. Under the dust jacket on this one is a negative image of the dust jacket image. It's pretty cool. Check it out. So the creators on this one, of course, Frank Miller writes almost everything in here with the exception of a few issues of Peter Parker, I believe, by Bill Mantlo. And those issues are really the only ones he drew in the entire collection here. He worked with other artists on all the other stuff that's included here. Like, primarily it would be David Mazzucchelli. Hopefully that pronunciation's right. John Romita Jr. and Bill Sienkiewicz. And a little bit, one issue by John Buscema. And that's pretty cool because I'm not used to seeing John Buscema draw Daredevil, so that was kind of a treat. So this collects Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man 27 and 28, with art by Miller and written by Bill Mantlo, as I mentioned. And then it collects Daredevil 219 and 226 to 233. And then we've got the limited series Daredevil, The Man Without Fear, 1 through 5. And that's the one with the John Romita Jr. art. And then it also includes the Marvel graphic novel Daredevil, Love and War, with some spectacular, very experimental, and sometimes strange art by Bill Sienkiewicz. Most of it, I believe, is watercolored, or certainly looks to be mixed media type of deal. And it's pretty great. It really suits the story well. Even if that sort of really exaggerated expressionistic style is usually not my thing, it works pretty good here. Bill Sienkiewicz is quite something here. Check it out. I will definitely run scans of that. And my thoughts on this one as I was reading it was similar to what I thought about Volume 1, which it surprised me how much I am convinced that Frank Miller is actually a better writer than he is an artist. And I love his art. I'm not knocking that a bit. But he is just an incredible writer. And I'm not sure anybody could ever write Daredevil any better than what you see here. It's just fantastic. The Daredevil Man Without Fear basically retells and fleshes out Daredevil's total origin. Just ties it all up. And like my thoughts about the first volume, the first omnibus here, is that it surprised me exactly how much the Netflix series Daredevil took from Frank Miller. I mean, there's no reason they shouldn't. I don't have a problem with that, but it's just amazing that some of it is almost transcribed from page to screen. So if you really love that Netflix series and you haven't read these two omnibuses or the material that's in them, you really you owe it to yourself to go get them. If you can't track down the Omnis, I'm sure you can get it in other formats, trade paperbacks, single issues if you really must, and probably in some of the digital ways. I'm not sure. I have not checked into those because I don't read digital comics almost never. As you can see, yeah, that's not my thing. But some people love that, and hey, however you can get it, get it. This one is pretty brutal. About like the first one, it's a lot. It's a lot to get through in some ways, but it's a great ride, and you will have fun. But there is some dark stuff in here. The stuff that happens to Karen Page, the stuff she goes through is horrid and brutal, and man, I mean, it has a good ending, but boy, She went through a lot. If you don't know the whole story about Karen Page and what she went through in this stuff, it's probably going to shock you a little bit. But it's good. Probably not surprised anybody that follows this channel at all and has seen my stuff before, but this is a 10/10 for me. I don't think there's a thing here I would change. It's fantastic. This is the definitive Daredevil. This, along with the first Frank Miller Omnibus, this is Daredevil. I mean, Daredevil has been done by a lot of great people since. I love the Bendis run is fantastic. The Ed Brubaker run is great. And I'm sure there's some other runs that I haven't read yet that are also great. But you know, but if you just want to read a couple to kind of get your feet wet with Daredevil, if you haven't read any Daredevil comics before, you got to go back to the Frank Miller, and this should be part of that. So pick these up if you can in some form and read them and love them. Now, next Monday, I'm going to be back, of course, but instead of a review, I'm going to have another little special episode. And if everything works out the way I've planned it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down all of the eras of American comic books. And I'm talking about the ages. Bronze Age, Copper Age, Silver Age, Golden Age, all that sort of thing. What do they mean? And what years specifically are they talking about? And I'm going to try to go over that and touch on it a little bit. It's not going to be an exhaustive documentary, but I think it'll help a lot of people, and it'll help me because sometimes I can't keep them straight either. But yeah, that's going to be next Monday. So come on back for that. Subscribe if you haven't. Give me a like if you like this stuff. And bell notify yourself so you don't miss out. Because I do post some random unboxings and things like that throughout and not on a regular schedule. So look out for that stuff. And come on back for more. Glad to have you. See ya.